Alright guys, what's up? This is going to be our first Chalk Talk. It's a game on University of Redlands versus Pepperdine in 2017. I think there are a lot of good moments that we can learn from. So, yeah, we're just going to watch the first quarter here and go over it. So here in the first quarter, you're going to see after the sprint, both teams quickly get set up into their offense and defense. So you see here, Pepperdine wins the sprint, kicks the ball back quickly, and players are already swimming to their spots. The one thing I'll say is look at how quickly players are deciding whether or not to drop or to press. The only issue is over here at the 4. So as you can see, over here at the 4, the player has not decided to press out, and therefore allowed an easy pass, which ends up leading to a breakdown in the defense. This is one of those things that we've talked about. Commit to something. Either commit to dropping or commit to pressing. When you're halfway in between, it leads to a defense breaking down. So the other thing that this player at the 4 decides to do is press out to the 8-meter line. And as you can see now, look how far away he is from the center. This is an absolute breakdown of the defense, and because of how far out of position he is, he's hurting his entire team. But as you'll see in this next clip, that the player at the 4 doesn't sit and wait to catch the ball. He actually follows his defender in. So as you see, he follows him in all the way inside to the 5-meter line and then now attacks the offense. So now that the offense is in this position, the player at the 3 who's now guarding his guy out at 7 meters should also be looking to help back and defend as someone closer. He should be going and attacking this player here at the 4. As you'll see, he does soon after waiting. This is something that a lot of times if you have a good shooter, you can't wait on because they will make that shot. As you can see, a hesitation, but then when the pass comes back, that leads to a steal and then into a counterattack. So now Redlands pushes up on the counterattack, and as you can see, all 3 lanes are filled. There's a player on the left, middle, and right. Now right here, there's a nice ball side drive to clear out the defender and to cause the defense to collapse. This player at the 4 here should definitely wrap up into the pocket, but instead chooses to make a cross pass, which is an okay play if you're looking to enter the ball in the center, but he makes a really bad pass. Now, as you'll see, passing is going to be the big issue here with Redlands. Players all press out, and while the center's fighting, they're making really wide area passes. So after the foul right here, the one thing about that Pepperdine is not doing is they're not helping at the center, who's wide open. They're pressing out everywhere, except for a dropper, who again, just like before with Redlands, is not committing to anything. He's just sitting at 7 meters, not guarding anybody, which could lead to an easy entry pass, but instead, as you see, leads to a entry pass to a drive, which is making that nice inside move. As you see, it makes a nice pass. Hands up defense, though, keeps away from a penalty shot, and they go back the other way. So here on the counterattack, Pepperdine does what we talk about with our second and third line counterattacks, in which they're looking for the trailer, the guy who's coming up late. So as you can see, at about 7 meters, the center is getting beat and is wide open. He has a great shot opportunity, and so you'll see that his teammates actually try to move to give him a better shot opportunity. You'll see here the player at the 2 actually decides to drive down in a back door to give him the space to not allow the X2 to gap over. So you see here, nice backdoor drive. So if you didn't see that, if you missed it, we'll go back here in slow motion. As the player at 3 is sliding in with his hand up looking for the shot, the player at 2 goes backdoor to keep the defender honest instead of allowing him to gap over to the shooter. Now, even though the passer misses him and doesn't pass to the wide open trailer, he actually crosses the ball, and this quickly flows into an easy entry pass. And that was all done because of that player at the 2 who decided to drive backdoor. So you see, pass down line, good entry pass, good help, and just missed shot. So now Redlands pushes up on the counterattack here. As you see, a good release, about half tank, gets the ball, but there's no one down line to receive it. So as the player is swimming down line, because he isn't looking right away, he decides to switch the ball to the other side of the pool. This is also because, as you'll see, Redlands is trying really hard to put the ball into center. And so because they have no other extra movement, Pepperdine is just pressing them out and not allowing any easy entries. This causes the whole shot clock to be used, and they have to dump it. So as Pepperdine pushes up on the counterattack here, you'll see that Pepperdine's center looks to see where the ball is and then quickly is going to post up. the player at X2 is in the same position we've talked about not being in, the same thing as X3. You're not pressing or helping at this point. Now, you'll see X2 helps back, but because the center is already in position, it allows an easy pass to 2 and allows him to attack the defense. So you see here, pass down line to 2. 2 helps back, but the X5 player cut in, looks for a shot. It's kind of a selfish look, but ultimately was a good opportunity. So even with the bad shot, you can see that every one of the Pepperdine players is covering up before they're even reaching half. And you see Redlands doesn't have that much movement. But as the ball gets passed down to 5 and then to 4, you can see here that the X4 instantly drops back. Now this is going to give 4 the opportunity to attack in. But this is why why we teach a lot of you guys, keep your head up and to scan the pool. Even if when we say attack, that doesn't mean you need to be the shooter. As you'll see, there's going to be a nice backdoor drive from the 5, which there should be a downline and entry pass, but instead he chooses to shoot it and causes a counterattack. See here, the attack's in, keeps the ball up, should pass it down line, but instead misses the shot, and now he's player at 5 is beat going back onto defense. So now as Redlands getting back on defense because of the missed opportunity at the other end, there's a player open middle, but a good double team allows him to keep the attack from continuing. But as you can see here, this is a pretty good example of good defense by both the goalie and the field blockers. So right here, you can see the goalie slid over to take away the near side position. There's already a field blocker near side, and both the center defender and the dropper have their hands up covering cross cage. This is what we talk about with funneling the ball. You don't need to block the shot. You need to funnel it towards your goalie's chest, which allows for a really good save here by the Redlands goalie. Nice. Good save, and then a counterattack the other direction. So looking at Redlands' counterattack, almost nobody is either looking for the ball or releasing. Everyone's just swimming down the pool. Now the ball is able to get pushed down to the 5-meter line, but because there's no one else and everyone else is stopping at half, there's not a lot of other movement. Now there's a nice inside ball side move, but because the player can't handle pressure, can't make the pass. At this point, there's only 10 seconds on the shot clock left, and right here, trying to draw the foul by putting your head underwater allows for an easy steal by the Pepperdine defender here at X2. Both hands up, not fouling, reaches over, takes the ball, and now pushes up on the counterattack. So nicely, even with the bad steal, or the good steal by Pepperdine, the bad turnover by Redlands, Redlands is able to cover up and keep the counterattack from scoring a goal. Now the issue here again, look at the player at X4. Look how far away he is from the center, and that's causing his team to be out of position. He decided to press his guy out at almost half instead of realizing that he should be back closer to his own cage. This allows for an easy entry pass from 5 into the center, which will ultimately lead to a goal. So make sure you're helping back from half. There's no reason to guard a guy that far out. Entry pass in, nice backhand, goal. So Redlands here, off the restart, quickly gets set up into their offense. Now, preferably there should be a release at the 4, but what you should be looking at is at the 1-2 side. The 1 runs up, sets a pick, but then quickly drives across cage, gets a good ball side, and a nice finish right here. So let's rewatch that. So right here, you can see that as the ball is getting passed to 4, the player at the 1 is swimming up to set a pick. Look at the X1 defender on this play. So, 1 starts his pick, swims up, and gets right to the back of the X2 the X2. Now, instead of waiting, he just swims around the center. You can see the X1 defender was assuming there was going to be a pick and a switch, and so is now late and behind the play and has to go underneath the center. This gives an easy ball side. A nice catch. He could also, instead of take this shot, toss it over to the center, but instead puts it right under the arm. A nice finish. These are the kind of variations off picks that we can use that can really throw off defenses, because they'll be assuming that they have to switch a pick, and then you switch it up and do a nice play like this.
Or are they holding people back?
No, they should be. Yeah, should be everybody.
So here, Pepperdine, again, like as you see, all these teams are quickly getting into their offense. Center gets down to the 2 within 5 seconds. There's also another 1-2 pick on the other side, but as you can see right here, why is the X3 guarding his guy at half? And you can see X4 is quickly trying to swim back to help, but that should be X3 coming back. The center is going to quickly rotate and post up on this side, and because X2 doesn't help back, this allows for an easy entry. As you see right here, helps back, or doesn't help back, leads to an ejection. Now I want you guys to watch this 6-on-5. Look at all the dry passing. Now, lefty puts the ball in the water, but otherwise the ball stays up. Now, Redlands is doing a pretty good job of covering up, except right there, missed pass to the 3-post. Lefty here then decides to take a selfish shot, and that's what leads to the turnover. So a poor decision here by a Pepperdine player leads to a man advantage for Redlands. They just had to pull back on the counter. Now Redlands is getting set up in their 6-on-5. It takes a little bit for them to actually figure out where they want to go on offense, which is what causes a little bit of confusion here. Now the player here at the 6 forces up an extremely bad shot. Right-hander, the bad angle, tries to force it near side. These are the kind of plays that weigh 6-on-5 and force our entire team to have to come back on the defense. And now you'll see that that shot, maybe not directly, but practically led to a wide open shot here. So let's look that over again. So while coming back onto defense here, you can see that the player who's supposed to be guarding his defender at 1 instead goes to guard the player at 2, which then causes confusion, and the player who should be at X2 looks back, decides to front the center and switch it, which leaves a good shooter wide open. This is just one of those bad miscommunications that lead to you getting subbed out, to be honest. But this is one of those mistakes where a bad 6-on-5 play turns right into a goal against us. So as you're going to see here, Redlands is going to run the same pick that they ran earlier. They're going to go and have a 1 slide up into a 12 pick. Now, the problem is that Pepperdine understands that the pick is happening this time and sticks with his man. Also, while there's also a wide open driver, player at 4 doesn't make the pass, and the player at 5 is sliding out to give him room, but ultimately it takes too long, and this just leads to a wasted possession. This is why we talk about keeping your head up, making good, quick passes, and even if you're at the 4 being pressed out, you still got to be able to make a pass down line into a driver. So here we go back the other way. Pepperdine comes up. And look at this. Immediate help back into center from the 3. Gapping with the 4. Nice rotation on defense right here. Now everyone is pressed up again. And even when there's a good backdoor drive, good defense all around. Not allowing any easy opportunities. Another good gap. Shot into a miss, into a counterattack the other way. So here Redlands goes up onto offense. You can see they quickly get this, 10 seconds off the clock. They have 3 players down on the 2-meter line, center, front, or posted up, facing the 5 side. After the foul, you see it's a nice look, just a bad pass, bad execution. But otherwise, nice, quick, after the foul, looking into center. Just a bad pass. It was a good reaction by the X5, though, to come back quickly after the foul to get that help with that steal. As you can see, Redlands is here helping back on their center, and look at all the gapping in between, right? Ball comes over, a quick gap across. Even if it's not properly timed, they're still at least looking to knock down shooters. Now here's an issue. A drop from the 4 leads to a quick catch and shoot, so let's rewatch that. So as you can see, after the foul, the player at 4 decides to help back at center, leaving the 4 wide open, a lefty, wide open for a catch and shoot. This should be the 3 looking to help, but to be honest, you could just be pressed out here the whole time, and that would be much better than trying to help off at the last second. So after the goal, after the restart, Redlands is getting into their offense. Look at the center defender, though, for Pepperdine. The second the ball gets passed over to the 1-2 side, he switches and gets in front, constantly moving and working. After the foul, though, you can see a nice drive backdoor from the 4 causes the ball to go to 5, and look at that nice entry pass into a diagonal. Now, at this point, this would be one of those times where maybe the player at the 4 or the 2 could release for the ball, or the player at 5 could cut backdoor for a pass. Instead, player looks for a shot, a lob, and misses it. This is one of those times where maybe it was an okay look, but there are a lot of other opportunities that you could get off of offense instead of that. So now with Pepperdine coming back this way, you can see that Redlands is instantly dropping, and even look at the quick gap over in the switch. The issue here, though, is look, constant help at center, but look at this late gap by the 4. Because he takes so long to get over there, it's a wide open shot. So let's go over that again. So after the pass from 3 to 2, you see that X3 drops. That should be the moment when X4 gets in the gap. But by committing after the ball is already in the air, he's too late and can't get to the shot, leading to a goal. So here after the goal, Redlands is going to get down to their offense. Like I said, look how quick they're getting into their offense.
Oh, no kidding.
Look, a quick little double team down at the 1, leaves the 2 wide open, allows a good pass, and now the center is wide open after the clear out. That, to be honest, should have been an ejection. Instead, they call a foul. But let's go over that quick drive, though. The player at 1 drives across and clears across. 1, his drive opens up the passer at the 2. But 2, he gives his wide open ISO to his center. The only player can help us from 4, and he's too late. While I believe that reach over should have been an ejection, it's still called a foul, and we still retain possession of the ball. That is a perfect play. And that's one that we need to be working on, too, with our read and react offense. Now, the ejection over there at the 2, oh, nice look right here, too. Could have shot it, but fumbled it. But that look and that ejection was caused by a drive and by cutting off first on the drive. So I want you guys to watch this 6-on-5 here. And before I say anything, I want you to see if you guys can realize how the player at 3 gets this goal.
Oh, yeah!
So let's rewatch that now. So the ball gets crossed to the 6. And now look at the 3. He actually is setting a screen on the player at 5. The player at 5 slides over to the open water, and then afterward, player at 3 pops back down into the pocket and gets a good goal. So now I actually want to go over this play a third time. I want you guys to all look at the defenders. Because the player at 3 moves up into the X5 defender, everybody else on the team in white thinks they should be guarding somebody else, which when the 3 slides back into the pocket means he's now wide open. So go over that play as many times as you need to. That is a great use of a screen on a 6-on-5. So with 20 seconds here, Pepperdine has one last possession on offense. Now I want you guys to look quickly at the 1-2 side here. Look at a nice backdoor cut and a good rotation. But the drive from the 3 with a defender with no hands up is what leads to an ejection, and now an offensive opportunity with 7 seconds left. Look at the dry passes here too. Dry pass, could have been a shot. Dry pass, could have been a shot. Dry pass, catch and shoot. Redlands is pretty lucky to not get scored on here. So that's it for the first quarter, guys. That's it for this video. I know this at first may be a little bit confusing to try to not get real-time answers back and forth, but for you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us, but please watch this video and try to look over and go over all the things that have been talked about and try to see how you can apply those to your own game and our own team. So thank you for listening, and we'll make another one soon.